All right, everyone. So, unfortunately, an American hero, a true patriot, is being attacked with lawfare. A woke system is attacking the son of our president, a true American who knows what being red, white, and blue is all about, Hunter Biden. As you all know, he was arrested for possession of crack cocaine and firearms. Or I think it was because he had a crack addiction and owned guns. And he got arrested. He has been tried. And in fact, he is actually, admittedly, by those that charged Hunter Biden and pushed for his charging, they specifically said that in a case like this, he likely wouldn't have gotten such a severe sentencing were it not for his last name being Biden. The Republicans are absolutely going to try to claim that Biden has gotten it, or Hunter Biden has gotten it easy here, or that he's gotten a lighter sentence or whatever because he's the son of the president. But no, admittedly, by those who prosecuted him, the only reason his sentencing is so harsh is because he is Biden's son. And that is admitted by the judge. The judge said no one is above the law. Yeah. Of course, Trump seems to be getting it a lot easier than Hunter Biden, ironically, which is, Teflon Don. He has that nickname for a reason. But regardless, they've gotten Hunter Biden for being an American. I thought this was America.
But Paula Reed has just walked.
Turns out, guns and a little bit of crack cocaine is a problem in America now. I thought this is a real country.
Outside of the court, she's joining us right now from Wilmington, Delaware. What's the latest you're hearing, Paula?
Well, the jury has found Hunter Biden, the president's son, guilty on all three counts in this case after 3 hours of deliberation. Count 1 is a false statement in the purchase of a firearm. Count 2 is false statement related to information required to be kept by a federal firearms licensed dealer. Count 3 is possession of a firearm by a person who is an unlawful user or addicted to a controlled substance. So he has been found guilty on all three counts. Now, the jury here is comprised of 6 men and 6 women. It is a majority black jury. This is day 7 of this historic trial. This is the first time.
Voice cracked? Did her voice crack? I mean, I think she's just probably out in some dry-ass New York City morning air.
Child of a sitting president.
You know what's really funny, though? The thing that the conservatives are cheering on right now is a guy being arrested for having guns. Because it's like Hunter didn't do anything illegal in a vacuum until he went and got a gun while being addicted to crack. So what Republicans are cheering on here is literally anti-gun legislation. Is what got Hunter here, which is really ironic.
Has faced a criminal prosecution. This is the first of 2 criminal trials that he will face after a plea deal that he negotiated fell apart. Now, over the past 7 days, he has enjoyed enormous support from his family, including his stepmother, the First Lady of the United States, who has been here for many days during this trial, other family members, friends of the family, clergy members. He has had dozens of people here showing support for him. And it was notable yesterday that at the beginning of the prosecutors' a closing argument, they pointed to the gallery where the First Lady has been sitting and said, those people, they don't matter. What matters here is the evidence. And here, the jury believes that the prosecution proved beyond a reasonable doubt that Hunter Biden was guilty of all 3 of these crimes. Now, the most difficult challenge for prosecutors, Wolf, was proving that Hunter Biden knowingly lied throughout the course of this process, that he was aware of the fact that he was either using or addicted to drugs. And they pointed yesterday to the fact that...
Yeah, I had to quit weed before I bought my gun. Because, even weed, which is legal in my state, it's a controlled substance. I had to go back to just nicotine, which fucking blows because, you know, weed's kind of that like chill you out downer kind of thing, and nicotine is it's very much a stimulant. So it's like, man, you know, like I really like my guns and I really miss weed. And I'll just get 2 different types of nicotine vapes now that are different flavors to give myself that similar feeling of switching between them, weed and nicotine. But yeah, for as long as weed is still federally treated the same way that it is, you can't have guns and weed. It's not legal. I miss weed so much. I miss getting stoned. But yeah. Like any controlled substance, and like they ask you on the forms when you buy your gun, like if you buy a gun, there's a form you fill out. I think it's called an FFL, no, not an FFL. It's a ATF form number, something number, and you fill it out, and it asks you a bunch of pretty basic questions. And one of them is like, you know, are you an illegal immigrant? You know, a lot of them are really basic. And one of them is, are you a habitual user or currently addicted to any controlled substances? And, I mean, there are a lot of Americans who own guns and still smoke weed, but I have a pretty bright future, I like to think, and don't want to risk it. So, knowing that was what was coming and not wanting to be a felon, I was like, looks like the long tolerance break is happening. And now I wake up every morning and check and see if Biden has federally legalized weed and made it no longer a controlled substance. Every morning, and he hasn't done it yet, but I still love Biden. You're allowed to keep your guns and have an Oklahoma medical marijuana card. Yeah, they got FPS Russia on this, yep. He had to spend 60 days in a federal prison camp. But yeah, it's very much like we need Biden to fix that shit. I miss weed too, and I haven't smoked since 15 minutes ago. Fuck it. Relapsing. Good for you, Mr. Inedible.
Shortly before he purchased this gun that he had been recently in rehab. So prosecutors said, look, if he hadn't just been to rehab, maybe we could buy the idea that he wasn't aware of the fact that he had a problem with substance abuse. But again, after 3 hours of deliberation, a jury here in Wilmington, Delaware, finding the president's son guilty on all 3 counts.
And Paula potentially faces what, a maximum of about 25 years in jail. Is that right?
Wait, if he went to rehab, doesn't he have a pretty good case for an appeal to say, wait, no, I'd already been to rehab. That meant I wasn't addicted anymore. Like, was there, like, evidence that he had guns and was actively, like, testing positive for crack? That would make sense, if that's how they still got him. I think so. Yeah, do we even know if he was clean? Like, he might have been clean when he bought the gun, and since then, for all we know. He'd gotten out 4 days earlier? That's pretty recent. Like, I wouldn't say you qualify as totally clean the second you're out of rehab. Ugh. Guns and alcohol, thumbs up, guns and weed. Well, yeah, once weed is, like, scheduled the same way as nicotine and alcohol, where it's just, like, you gotta be, like, a certain age to get it, and that's pretty much it, and you can't drive with it, I guess. Like, actually, no, I think you're allowed to drink... You're allowed to have alcohol and drink alcohol and own guns, but you cannot be inebriated while using guns on anything. Like painkillers, like over-the-counter painkillers. Like, I think that, like, if you're, like, seen by a cop taking an over-the-counter painkiller and shooting guns at the range, that's illegal. I don't think you're allowed to be anything but sober when using guns, but that's separate from the whole, like, controlled substances thing. Don't ask me, because I'm not a legal expert. I may be a little more overly careful than is necessary. But when it comes to mixing in guns with drugs, it's just rarely not a felony.
Yeah, look, sentencing is much more of an art than it is a science. That is the far upper range of the sentencing guidelines. But he is, of course, a first-time offender, so we don't expect that he would get a sentence anywhere near that. But that is the upper end of the sentencing guidelines for these specific offenses. And also, this is the second trial, the first of two trials that he will face. He will face a second trial in September later this year on tax-related charges. Now, we have a new flurry of activity coming out of the court. I'm going to have our reporter just come over and tell us what else they're learning, because obviously
That's so sad that people that need help to cure their addictions are thrown in prison with actual dangerous people. The way that this law is usually applied is typically as an addendum. From my understanding, cops don't go out of their way looking for people who have a bit of weed and they're also a gun owner. It's more so like that. It's usually used against celebrities where there is a kind of motivation to look into them. And like FPS Russia, for example, the ATF wanted to shut down FPS Russia for years before like they finally came in and got him for weed. And they tried to go after him for everything they could. Every somewhat faded serial number on an old gun, because like wear and tear over time, they tried to get him on defacement of serial number charges, which has like 12-year minimums per gun, right? They tried to claim that him texting his girlfriend saying, hey, you want to come over and smoke some weed and watch the new Game of Thrones, was him distributing marijuana as like the same charge you would give to a weed dealer, right? They tried to heap on as much as they could so he would plead down to just possession with a firearm, which they wanted to charge him with 60 days in prison for. They use it a lot against celebrities and against people who are already committing another crime as like an addendum to stack on more years with the federal charges because there's such a high federal conviction rate. No one wins against federal charges. If they try to challenge, you're always best taking the plea deal. And so that's what Hunter Biden did. He took the plea. Everyone takes the plea against federal charges. It's the only way. Some state laws allow medical cannabis patients to own guns, like here in Minnesota. That's good to hear. I know that recreationally, it's pretty much never allowed.
Obviously, the most important thing was the verdict, but we're also getting other information, including color about his reaction. There was great hope within Hunter Biden's legal camp that perhaps they would get a hung jury here in Wilmington, that people would believe that this was an unfair prosecution, that nobody else who had a different name would face this case. It is, objectively speaking, a very unique case, but here the jury believed that the prosecutors proved their case beyond a reasonable doubt.
Major development. Hunter Biden guilty of all three counts in this.
What's so funny about this is the Republicans are using the sins of the son as a reflection on the father. So, like, this is like, meanwhile, Trump, the guy, has gotten 34 guilty felony charges. And they're all probably saying, yes, I'm voting for a felon this November. And I'm proudly voting for a felon. And meanwhile, the president's son being a felon is supposed to like reflect at least equally as badly on Biden. Yet there's no negative connotation from them for the same thing, but it's the guy, Trump, right? You know, justice for thee, but not for me.
In this trial that's been going on, and potentially right now, Paula, give us a sense, Paula. Will he be incarcerated awaiting sentencing, or will he be able to go home?
He won't be incarcerated.
We don't expect that he will be detained pending sentencing. It's unclear how long it'll take for him to get a sentencing date that will likely be set today. And just like former President Trump, we've seen up in New York, there's a whole process ahead of sentencing. But as I said, he has another federal trial in September, so it's unclear exactly when his sentencing date will be. But we fully expect that he will likely be out and about.
That makes sense to Lancer. I think there's like a set time for detox. Makes sense.
Still a free man, even though he is facing this conviction until his sentencing. And then I would expect that there will be a series of appeals. But there are questions about just how many resources he has remaining to fund his legal defense. He is right now not working. His longtime friend and attorney, Kevin Morris, has been paying most of his legal bills. But Wolf, it's not just these criminal trials that he's facing. He and his lawyers are pursuing this very aggressive, litigious campaign campaign against his detractors. They have a lot of civil lawsuits that are costing them money, but I fully expect he will appeal this verdict and ultimately the sentence. And he may make a brief statement after court. We'll see how he's feeling after this conviction.
Yeah,
Guilty of being American and having a huge cock. Travesty. Absolute travesty. And did you see? God, America is becoming more dystopian by the day. YouTuber arrested, fireworks. Do you see this shit? I thought this was America, man. I thought this was fucking America.
Influencer facing a federal charge for a video that shows fireworks shot from a helicopter at a Lamborghini. Eva Pilgrim has this story, and this is just nuts. Good morning, Eva.
We're all just kind of shaking our heads. I mean, this video is so crazy. It doesn't even look real when you're watching it, but it is real. And what it shows, the feds say, is against the law. Now the car influencer behind it before a judge in LA. This morning, a social media influencer is under fire and under arrest after pulling an explosive stunt. Watch closely. No, that's not a scene from...
Like, obviously shooting fireworks at the car doesn't do anything to really hurt it, you know? And they're literally in the middle of some salt flats or something. Like, I don't know where they are, but you can see there's not even a shrub as far as the eye can see. Apparently, doing pyrotechnics from a helicopter or involving a helicopter is like some specific thing you need a permit or training for or some stupid bullshit like that. And so the police went after this YouTuber. No one got hurt. No one got hurt. No wildfires were started or anything. But they went after this YouTuber because, well, you didn't fill out the right permits, you see. Yeah, I don't think there's salt flats. I think it's just a big flat, like... I think it's an area that was once a big lake that is now a flat, sandy area. You see a lot of like car commercials and music videos shot here. It's very recognizable.
From a Fast and Furious movie, the video titled Destroying a Lamborghini with Fireworks was orchestrated by 24-year-old Suk-min Choi, who goes by Alex Choi. According to the complaint filed by the Department of Justice, he directed a YouTube video in which two women in a helicopter fly near the ground and without filming permits repeatedly shot fireworks at a Lamborghini sports car.
We need to stop this. We need to stop the Britishification of America. You got a permit for that fun, you haven't? Oi, we sense fun. You out in the middle of the desert having fun? You got a license for that?
The placement of explosives, in this case fireworks, on an aircraft, in this case a helicopter, is illegal.
The since-deleted video was filmed in June 2023 and posted on July 4th of that year to his YouTube channel, which has over 900,000 subscribers. In the affidavit, it states Choi
No, I actually think this is like nanny state bullshit, but unironically. Like seriously. I think that when you're out in the middle of the fucking desert, you should be allowed to do pretty much anything if no one gets hurt. Pretty much. Like, what happens out in the middle of the fucking country in America if no one gets hurt is no one's goddamn business. Certainly not the law, even if it's posted online.
Thanks the camera crew for being a part of my crazy, stupid ideas and made the decision to end filming when they were out of fireworks, saying, "No, that's it. We're out of fireworks, right?" He's now charged by the DOJ with one count of causing the placement of an explosive or incendiary device on an aircraft.
I love this. He has been charged with a count of causing the placement of an explosive or incendiary device on an aircraft. So the wording of the law sounds a lot like literally terrorist. They're literally applying a law that is, I'm pretty sure used to punish terrorists who've been caught bringing a bomb onto a plane. To this guy who just did a video where they're shooting fireworks out of a helicopter, they're flying low to the ground in the middle of the desert at a Lamborghini. They're going to treat him like a terrorist, never getting a normal job again? Yep.
They're extremely serious. The particular statute where it's just putting the fireworks on the aircraft, there was a willful disregard for human life.
A willful disregard for human life. Yes, we're going to destroy this 20-something-year-old's life because he filmed a fun video. He had a complete disregard for human life. His life must be destroyed. He must be punished. He will be tried as a terrorist. Oh my fucking God. Not even a drop of empathy in that woman. Good Lord. Just happy to end this guy's life. They're so glad this, like, young 20-something wealthy, like, YouTuber just had his life taken away from him and is going to get charged as a terrorist when they all damn well know he's not a terrorist. Like, he didn't do anything terroristic. It was a funny video. If anything, he was just dumb. And sure, you can say he did a really dumb thing, but treating him like an actual piece of shit who deserves this? Oh my God. Like, get the boot out of your fucking throat.
Now, the FAA did revoke the helicopter pilot's license over this stunt. As for Choi, he's expected back in court in the coming weeks. If convicted, he's looking at up to 10 years in federal prison. And that's the thing people have to remember. You know, these grand ideas that you have, you can get in real trouble for doing.
Yeah, if you have a fun, cool idea, you gotta remember that it actually costs millions of dollars to get the permits for that kind of thing, because there is a gate that is simply a monetary thing to having the ability to do this kind of stuff. So, like, if you're a movie director who has a shitload of money at their disposal, yeah, it's super easy. You can blow up as many helicopters as you want, totally legal. But if you're just a normal guy who's got the money for a helicopter, fireworks, and a Lamborghini, even if you take all the safety precautions, you didn't pay enough money to make this illegal for you specifically. So you're going to be tried as a terrorist, buddy. Yeah. The law can be very retarded sometimes. What a true American hero. This used to be a real country. It's all Jover, chat. We used to be a real country. If you too miss the real, true America and wish to return, consider dropping a like on this video. Comment down below, subscribe and ring the bell icon if you haven't already. It really does help the channel a lot. It'll make sure that you get notified whenever I go live or upload new videos, so I really, really do appreciate it. And of course, please consider following my social medias, linked down below in the description. Join my fan Discord in order to be a part of my hub of my community, the main, like, center nexus of my fan base, where you can watch, we do watch parties, game events, call-in streams, all sorts of cool stuff. And of course, if you want to support me financially, directly, consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, StreamElements, Patreon, or support me by buying merch, the Streamlabs link down below. With all that said, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next one.